How many of you jumped right into the stock market because everyone else was making money? How many of you put a chunk of your salary into the stock market without knowing how psychology works, especially in terms of investing? There are a lot of questions to be identified, and in today's video of mine, you will be learning the 5 investment steps you can do as a beginner to set base for your investment journey. Hi, this is Anirudh Bellare here. Welcome to the 20th video of Your Best Financial Life. As I mentioned, in today's video, you will be learning the 5 important steps, and also remember there is a bonus step at the end which will be very useful for you. In these 5 steps, you will have a basic crux and idea about how do you go about with your investment plan and journey, and what are the do's and don'ts you can keep in mind before investing your hard-earned money. And disclaimer, I am not any financial advisor here. This is what I have been doing for my financial life, and I feel it is my happiness, and the way I explain will be perfectly correct for you because I love to share all of this information. Let's move on to the first point. Your first point is nothing but directly getting into stocks. Now, what is the meaning of directly getting into stocks? See, people don't understand stock or a share is nothing but an ownership of a business. Before you buy any share in any related business, you are buying the business. Very important point over here. There are a lot of businesses which you may see. I'll give you an example. Suppose Tata, they have a lot of businesses under the brand Tata. If at all you buy a share related to Tata, see, I'm not giving any stock name or anything here. This is just a clear-cut example for your understanding. What do you have to keep in mind before you buy any share of, suppose, say, Tata? So for Tata and for any other company, you need to understand what is actually happening in that company. I use this is the website I use when I go and see the fundamentals of companies. Now, what is this fundamental and what company? Suppose I want to know what is going on in the company. How is the business run? Am I able to understand the business? Will this business do well in the long term according to micro and macroeconomic factors which you have been noticing? There are so many questions. And understand, questions is what opens up your mind, and that is why questions become very important when it comes to investing. You need to have the clarity about why are you choosing to invest in that business. Do you see a future growth? Do you see a value driven proposition? See, there are a lot of ideologies and mindsets to be kept in mind, as I've discussed in my previous videos also. But coming to this video, I have seen a lot of people who get their first salary and immediately invest, like say for example 20,000 or 30,000 rupees, which according to me will be very difficult for that person when it comes to long term. Why? Now, why am I saying that if suppose somebody starts earning and he wants to invest that 20,000 or 30,000 rupees, understand, when you see your, suppose 20,000 rupees, you invested in any share or any mutual fund, and this value drops to around 18,000 rupees. You know what? Your amygdala, which is your emotional part in your brain, will start to fluctuate, and you will feel the sense of fear, and you would want to remove this amount. That is why it is very important that you need to start from scratch, start from little by little. If you see your 1,000 rupees becoming 800 rupees, and if you feel a lot of fear, then my friend, investing your 20 to 30,000 rupees and expecting that it will keep doing good is going to be very difficult. That's why mindset and importance of your emotional intelligence when it comes to investing becomes very important. And how does this come? This comes with time, learning, dedication, clarity, which is what I want for you. And that is why, for people who are starting their investment journey, getting into stocks requires lot of, see, think anything what you're doing as a business. Understand the most important asset in your life is you yourself. And if you work for a company, is nothing but you are working for a business. You as an employee are working for that business so that the business grows. Similarly, if you have to invest your money in a business, you need to take out time to read about that business. Have a glance. It's not that somebody tells you and you keep reading and all the stock tips and all. Please, you have your own brain and analysis. You need to understand. I use this website screener. You can go here if you want to, and you can understand what is happening into the company. See, you have something called annual reports and investment presentations and con calls, which happen every year and monthly depending on the time. If you just go and have a glance about what is happening inside the company, you will get a clear idea on how the business functions. That's why it becomes very key and essential that you need to know where you are investing, which type of company is it, why are you doing it, what is your long-term goal. So you need to understand. The more you ask your brain questions, the more it is easier for you to take decisions. And that is why this concept becomes very, very important. You can take a picture of this before I erase it. Let's move on to the second point. Your second point is something related to 11th and 12th standard commerce, which I have gone through. It's not only related to commerce, it's about basic economics understanding. Now, what is a simple word of this, meaning of this word economics? Moving of money from one pocket to another pocket throughout the world. When it comes to when it comes to economics, you have two bifurcations, your microeconomics and your macroeconomics. Micro is what is happening on a small basis, and macro is the full country. Now, it becomes very important for you to understand the meaning of the word gross domestic product, GDP. And the mindset which I'm giving you for this second point, see, economics, GDP, you can learn it from the internet, Google and all of this. But do you know what? The second point has helped me in a lot. I mean, not in a lot, it has helped me a lot. And I want to give this same knowledge to you. See, there is this newspaper called Economic Times, which I keep reading along with ET Wealth, Economic Times Wealth. When you read these kind of newspapers, you get a lot of knowledge and information on what is happening, whether it's geopolitical tensions, whether it's national tensions, or whatever is happening within our country and outside our country. Because any news which comes has a direct impact on your stock market, whether it's India or whether it's outside India. So it becomes very important for you to at least have a glance on what is happening in the world, because your news is the biggest fuel for impact to happen in your stock markets, and especially for different sectors, it becomes very, very important. That's why if you have to start from your basic understanding about economics, what is happening geopolitically, and reading Economic Times, it gives you a more clearer idea and a better frame of view on what is happening. And this is what I'm emphasizing for you. Let's move on to the third point. Your third point is nothing but your concepts of investing. Now, what is the meaning of the word concepts of investing? See, there are investing is a huge term. Now, from this huge term, what is going to be useful for your life, you need to see. Whether you take debt market, equity market, whether you take mutual fund, whether you take stocks, or whatever you take, again I'm emphasizing the importance on why are you doing it. Now, how to do it, I will start covering all these concepts in my upcoming videos. But why are you doing it? Have you come here for capital appreciation, for you to earn an extra sources of income, which is your dividend investing type? Once you are clear on this, and once you start with a small amount, it becomes very important for you because you have a lot of clarity. And this is what I've been telling you again and again from so many videos. You need to have clarity on why you are here. Now, once you have clarity, it becomes easier for you because you can take the right decision. And how will you take the right decision? You will get to know. So, concepts of investing, you have so many asset classes and it is a type. Now, there are tax-free funds as well, and there are many other funds which will be very important. Now, once you are clear on the why, the how will come. That's why I'm emphasizing this concept again and again. Let's move on to the fourth point. Your fourth point is market behavior, most important and crucial point. Now, what is the meaning of the word market behavior? Simple. Behavior is nothing but how something reacts, whether it is a human being. Now, I'll give you an example. Let's take our old friend Raju. This guy Raju, if I tell him something which he does not like, it's pretty natural he will get angry. If I tell him something whereby he feels good about himself, a compliment, an appreciation, he feels happy. Now, what is the meaning of this fear, happiness? You have something called greed and overbought zone. See, what is this greed and overbought zone? There are so many instances whereby there is a lot of money which will be pumped into the stock markets, and that is the time any of your friend or random person can tell you buy this particular share without any investment. I mean, without any knowledge of you on why are you doing it. Once you start understanding your own behavior and you start putting that example of 1000 rupees, you can slowly start understanding the journey about how this 1000 rupees starts to grow. See, if you're not comfortable seeing your 1000 rupees becoming 700 rupees, then I'm sorry, my friend, you cannot see 700 rupees becoming 1500 rupees again. Now, what is this I'm blabbering right now? Isn't it a bit confusing? See, if you can see small amounts getting corrected, what is corrected? There is a small correction in the market whereby around 2% of your money which you have put falls. If you can see 1000 becoming 700, then you know what? And if you're able to sleep peacefully, then it tells you that your brain is fine investing into the stock market. Why? Because I have seen there are a lot of people who earn like around 1 lakh or whatever they earn. I'm sorry, it's just an example. Somebody who's earning 1 lakh and he feels this is my first time, where do I invest? He invests 40,000 into a mutual fund or any share, and he sees that 40,000 becoming to 35,000 because of geopolitical tensions or whatever is happening in the economy. And you know what? He'll be tempted to remove his capital amount. Why? Because he doesn't understand the psychology of what happens into the stock market. And if you can see your money falling, like this example of Raju, if he can see 40,000 becoming 35,000, 30,000, and he does have that conviction that his research and his analysis is perfect, then my friend, it's just about patience when you can see your 35,000 becoming 50,000 again. Because see, for you to make wealth, if you feel that this is the way wealth is made, I'm sorry to tell, this is not the way how wealth is made. If you see your wealth going from this place to this place, what does this mean? You started investing here. After 2 years, your amount would have become whatever amount here. Again, it has come back to the place from the time you have invested, and then you get your breakout and it goes up. Now, what is this up down? See, just understand. If you stay peaceful and if you can see that losses for some time, and if you have the conviction, then you are on the right path. But see, it becomes easy for me to tell. It's difficult to do. That's why you need to make sure that whatever you do needs to have a lot of patience, conviction. I've heard this dialogue a lot of times. A human being is always a failed investor. Now, why does this dialogue become very important? See, being emotional human beings, we have taken a lot of effort to earn that money, and to see that money falling, it creates a type of trouble in your amygdala, which is the emotional part of your brain. That is why it is said human being is always a failed investor. And understand, if you can get past this zone, that if I can see my money fall from 40,000 to 30,000, you have that conviction on that particular share or mutual fund, it's just a matter of time. Whether it is 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I don't know. Even you don't know. But if you can see this formation happening, then it is a very good sign for you. And that is why it becomes very crucial and important for you to learn all these steps. Let's move on to the next and most important fifth point. Most important point here, which is also a part of that bonus which I said, is nothing but learn. First you learn, then you earn, then you observe, and then have your patience plus discipline. Now, what is the meaning of this long word? First, you learn the basics of investing, whether you read the Economic Times newspaper, whether you understand what is happening in the business, whether you see the fundamentals, whether the company is overvalued, undervalued, and how to do all of this, I will surely explain in the upcoming videos. So, most important, for getting into any field, you need to have interest. Interest as in you need to have that feeling that yes, this is made for me. Suppose if you like to play a sport like football, you will obviously watch a lot of football playing people. You will learn their leg movements, you will learn how they run, their psychology on the field. And then when you start playing that sport of football, You understand what are the do's and don'ts. With time comes experience. And the same thing with investment also. First you learn how it is to be done. Then I'm pretty obvious you are earning as well. When you start earning, you start to observe when you put in that small amount. You see how your mind fluctuates when you can see your 1,000 rupees becoming 800. What happens to your brain? Are you feeling a lot of emotions coming out, or are you able to sleep peacefully? Lot of things. And remember, whatever I'm telling, it takes time to do. It's not easy to do that you can see 1,000 rupees becoming 800. It's but natural that person will remove that amount. But can you stay with a lot of conviction in that particular mutual fund or share or whatever? Ask this question to yourself. And then, do you have the patience and discipline? See, all this is easy for me to tell here on the camera, but how will you practice it? You can practice it only if you actually see your eyes doing it, your eyes and brain and your heart. These are the three things. Once connected, and if you have that conviction, it will give you a lot of result. But to get that conviction takes a lot of time, trust and effort. And that is why it is very important for you to practice all these 5 methods which I've given you. See, the intention of me making this video is to not give you any advice or not to tell you do this, you do that. You can choose any of these points. But remember, for anything to grow, for seeing a plant become a tree, it takes a lot of time. To see your small investments become that tree, it will obviously take time. And that is the reason I'm standing here and giving you these videos. If you really like this video, you can share it with a lot of people, because I feel there are a lot of people who deserve to gain a lot of wealth in their life, but they fail to understand the difference of being wealthy and staying rich. And I've made such videos as well on this channel. Thank you so much for giving your time for this video. It gives me immense pleasure and happiness to create such videos for you. Thank you so much.